Unscripted.
You know, I put up with a lot of stuff on YouTube ever since I first started. I mean, it kind of started well enough just doing little cheesy reviews and things, and, you know, I had a good time with that. Obviously, 2013 sort of changed everything. I was not aware of, like, this underside of YouTube or this dark side of YouTube where, you know, there's these type of fanboys that just really take things super seriously and, you know, with the threats and things like that. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but I really had a good time with you know, the situation with the games themselves, and you know, I wouldn't change that for anything. I really just enjoyed gaming, and I think that gaming in general has just been such a good thing and such an amazing time for me personally. And you know, I went from, like, here's the thing, I've always had all the consoles every generation that I can think of. Once I was able to go out and buy my own consoles, eventually by the time the generation ended, I always ended up with all the consoles. So I think around the time of the Dreamcast era was probably when I started to be able to do that. You know, like growing up, obviously when I was a kid, I was kind of just, you could only get one, you know, your parents would only let you get one or whatever, and so that was the type of situation that I was in. Once I was old enough to get all of them, I did. You know, I had the Xbox, the PS2, the GameCube, the Dreamcast, then I had the Xbox 360, the PS3, and the Wii. And then, you know, of course, I even had the Switch and, you know, the iterations of the 360 and PS3. Obviously, the Xbox One. And then eventually, a couple years later, I got the PS4. And, you know, I was able to luck out and get a Switch a few months after that launched. And then I got the Xbox Series X and the Xbox or PS5 at launch as well. So I've been very fortunate in that regard. So, but as far as doing content, it's like when I originally started doing like the content and the way that things kind of came about, the Xbox had a much better lineup, and that's why I got an Xbox first. I didn't really take time to think about any of the other stuff that was involved or anything like that. I saw that they had games that I was interested in, and so I did a video about getting one. You know, the PS4 didn't really launch with anything that was significant or even showcase anything that I was even remotely interested in, so it wasn't something that I was super excited about. And you know, I got a lot of hate for that, you know, because people thought Microsoft was trying to take everybody's rights and things like that. Now look where we are, you know, 7 years later, and it's even worse, but nobody cares. Nobody bats an eyelash. So it is kind of interesting from that kind of perspective. And even with that being said, you know, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this because I was very rough on Sony at first. And once things kind of turned around, I was rough on Xbox, you know, and maybe, like, I don't know, I think maybe some people's feelings got hurt along the way or something along those lines, because it was almost as if, you know, people really thought that I was out there trying to, like, cause some kind of stir or something like that. Not the case, you know. I think that gaming in general is a great thing. And, you know, I just have this little platform when I thought, hey, why not, you know, cover these consoles and speak my mind and give my opinion on these things as much as possible from what I'm able to actually do. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And you know, for me personally, since I took a step back and I asked the fans and I asked people that watch my channel, hey, what would you like to see more of? And people said, you know, some more positivity regarding Xbox. So I said, okay, cool. You know, I'm going to give you guys some more positivity with Xbox. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been trying to keep it positive all along, both with Xbox and Sony. Obviously, there's going to be some things that come up that are negative, like I did the video on Sony closing down the stores on the PS3, etc. But, you know, for the most part, I'm trying to keep it a little bit more even-keeled. And, you know, it's a slow burn, to say the least, you know, and I understand that that's going to be the case. But the thing that I don't understand is there's this subsect of fanboys that make it seem like I'm not allowed to do Xbox content or pro Xbox content, right? Like, let me just make this pretty clear. There's, like, they go, well, you can't come back in the community. Well, what community is that? The community that plays Xbox? Because I play Xbox, right? Like, obviously I hadn't played Xbox as much the past couple of years as I did earlier on, but I still played Xbox, still bought the Xboxes, still supported the Xbox, probably have more games than any of the people that you would think support Xbox and more controllers and buy more Xboxes, and you know what I mean. Like, and so for me personally, I just find that to be very funny when people act like you can't come be a part of something or you can't talk about something because I talk down on it. You know what? I talk down on PlayStation, and I still talk good on that later when they actually had stuff good to talk about. It's the same thing with Xbox, right? I'll be darned if I let people tell me what I can and can't talk about. You know, it's just one of those things where I didn't fight for them to actually do good things for years to not be like receive the dividends of that. And if you know what I'm talking about, like I spoke my mind. I really kind of kind of did the best of my ability to go out there and make sure that people knew what I was talking about, and I wanted to make sure that people understood that, for me personally, I really, really wanted Xbox to do better for all of us, and the fact of the matter is they really kind of failed us, and I wanted to make sure that I let everybody know that that was pretty unacceptable, and that for me personally, I expected better from them as a company, and I expected better from them as, just overall as a fan. And I still think that, that could be a thing, you know what I mean? They could definitely go out there and do a good job and kind of get games out there and things like that. And I actually hope that that's what we get before too long. I want to see what they do. I want to see that they can go out there and, provide us with great games and things like that. I don't think that would be a bad thing at all. I think that could be a tremendous thing, and I really want to see them continue to do that. And hopefully it leads to better things for us all around. But for people to go out there and be that deluded to think that you can't play Xbox or can't talk about positive about Xbox, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you literally can do what you want and talk about what you want pretty much, as long as it's like within legal limits and things like that. Even if you want to face the blowback, you can talk about pretty much what you want. So for me personally, I just found it to be a little bit appalling, especially since I was one of the original few people, like with Next Gen and things like that, to really talk positive about Xbox. But at the time, they had positive stuff to really talk about. There was this other subsect of people that came out later that really was just all in it for the wrong reasons, and the clout and stuff like that, and they just kind of talk out their behind and really don't have any reason to be excited about Xbox. When you look at it, 560 some days without a AAA exclusive, that still holds water. And the fact of the matter is, something like Outriders, which surprised me, and the fact that they pretty much confirmed that the Bethesda stuff will be exclusive surprised me, because the past, it doesn't seem like Microsoft cared much about that stuff. But the fact that they're kind of paying attention and listening and getting gamers things if they can't get exclusives, which is all I've wanted all along. If you can't get an exclusive, then get something else for your gamers. And so I thought that was really a very interesting thing, and something that we should have been seeing all along. And so for me personally, I find that to be very cool, and I'm going to talk about it if it's positive. Look, Xbox was doing stuff that I thought was cool, and I was kind of like leaving it to the sideline a bit. If they're doing something cool, why can't I say something about it, right? Like, if you're a PlayStation fan, like, I'm sure you don't even care if I do a video saying, hey, you know what, let's do this or let's do that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you don't care. And if you're an Xbox fan, like, I just think that it's kind of ridiculous that so many people kind of look to me and go, well, you can't do this or you can't do that. Listen, it's my little crappy channel. I'm going to cover what I want on my crappy channel. If you don't want to see it, then don't watch it like most everybody else. I'm trying to kind of rebuild something and trying to do something that, is appealing to a lot of different types of gamers. And it does suck that so many people really just kind of look at me and go, oh, well, you're not allowed to do this or not allowed to talk about that. I just find that to be just a slightly ridiculous. And for me personally, I just think that it's just something that I don't really jive with. Like, for as long as I can remember, I kind of did my own thing regardless. And for all the faults, yeah, I have some regrets and things like that I've unfortunately had to encounter throughout some time. But at the same time, I've also had done some things that I'm very proud of and that I'm happy that I did. So I know obviously some people will probably look at me and go, oh, well, what do you actually happy that you did. And I mean, there was a lot of different things, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I just think that it's going to be something that I would like to be able to talk positively about both and not have to deal with, you know, people trying to tell me otherwise. You know, it's just one of those things that I hope one day will happen. And it's okay to question these companies, you know, and it's okay to kind of question, you know, what's best for us, and to still be on board with them. You know what I mean? Like you can have a PlayStation and still question what they're doing here or there. You can have an Xbox and still question what they're doing here or there. You don't have to have this love affair with Phil Spencer, you know, to be an Xbox fan, because I don't trust Phil, I don't trust Jim, but I do want to. I do want to be, you know, kind of more even keel when it comes to this stuff. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Am I allowed to cover Xbox? I mean, let me know. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.